So I want to continue my discussion about strength and conditioning, and pretty much talk about the other 25% from the part one video. The other 25% is people like to do a lot of other things in their workouts, and they'll do different workouts and different sports for their workout as an alternative, and that's not a bad thing either. So contrary to what I said in the first one, although I believe you should be about 75% training for your sport, you could do 25% and do different sports and to get the conditioning. But it's also a psychological thing, right? Because if you do a lot of your sport, sometimes you get bored with it, you get into a rut, and you need to change things up by doing different sports. And doing other sports can help you, so playing basketball, football, doing some, snowboarding, skateboarding, whatever else to kind of change up the routine and keep your mind fresh is always good for the psychological part of your training. And I definitely would embrace that, I like to play basketball. I haven't played in a while because I've been busy boxing and life and everything else. But, I like to, maybe if I'm not playing, I watch it a lot. So it gets me away from watching a ton of boxing videos, a lot of fights. I get to watch basketball. Like right now it's playoff season. So I'll do that. And to expand on the psychological part of the training, every strength and conditioning program has to be individualized to a person. And although, my program is about training as a team, each person within the training session has to approach, parts of the training in their own way. Like you can't have a guy who's 130 pounds train the same way as a guy 250 pounds. They have to treat their body differently, and what's going to be able to, get the best results for them are going to be different. People's limits are different, and their psychological approach to limits are different. And you have to keep that in mind when we're working with a person, So especially when I'm training, pads with different guys, I know who's in front of me. And so I know what they're capable of. I know what I want to see from them. I know what I want them to be better at. And I try to push, there's a point to pushing limits, and there's a point to break someone. You want to be right at the sweet spot, because you want to be, especially in a hard sport like boxing, you got to be at the point of being broke, so you know who you are as a person, as a fighter. Because other than learning skills and being in shape, the other aspect of it is you're in a fight. So you have to fight. You got to learn how to weather storms and be able to come back from those adversities sometimes. And those are the things that you have to kind of simulate in ways in the training, during sparring and during other aspects of, mitt work, and when you burn them out for that last 30 seconds and you want, 4 jabs in a row, things like that, to burn out the shoulder, having rounds where you just do jabs only to psychologically condition them neurologically as well, to be able to throw your jab at will without fatigue. Those are important things. So yeah, that's part two. I'm going to continue to explore this topic of strength and conditioning as I'm now re-embarking on my strength and conditioning program, and also passing these things on to my team. So part three will probably discuss more about doing low impact exercises and more stretching and yoga aspects of your training. All right, so I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Peace.